I, 25F, a coffee with a former work acquaintance, 23M, and now my BF, 31M, has ended things with me. Between July 2020 and July 2021 I was volunteering with a youth-led organization where I worked alongside a colleague via Zoom who lived in a different city. He has recently moved to my city to study and I replied to his Instagram story telling him, "Welcome." Quote. He replied that we should grab a coffee, to which I replied, "Sure." We picked a day and the day of. I told me BF that I was catching up that afternoon with a friend who I had worked with. He immediately asked if it was a boy or a girl and I replied, "Boy." He then told me that I had basically told him I was going on a date and to pack my things and get out of his house. I showed him the messages and assured him that I was just being friendly and polite given that there was a pretext of knowing that the friend was possibly coming to study in this city. He asked me the intention of the meeting and I said to just catch up seeing how life is. I have never seen my BF so angry. He left for work and told me I was disgusting and to be gone when he gets back. When he called later to ask me whether I actually went, I said yes and he said he can't trust me and I'm deceitful and then he blocked me. How do we move on from this? Have I seriously messed up? I agree with everyone else. But you should also make sure friend doesn't think it's a date. Unless you want it to be since you are single now. Edit. Apparently while I was gone this blew up. I was speaking from personal experience. They thought it was a date. And I was caught off guard. But Op can decide what she wants to do. It was just a suggestion so she's not caught off guard. Sometimes people don't specify they're asking for a date, which causes confusion. I am just the type that likes to make sure of things like that for my own understanding. But Op should do what she feels is right. There was good advice given that if it becomes obvious he thinks it's a date, she can shut it down. You move on without him. You don't move on together. End of story. Okay, so there are a lot of comments saying that Op left out information in the post and that she is to blame for neglecting to mention that she had a boyfriend. But she messaged this ex-colleague on Instagram, suggesting that they follow one another. Op, does your boyfriend feature in any of your Instagram posts? Maybe he just wanted an excuse to end it. His actions are shitty though. So, there's a lot of disagreement in the comments section. Some people are saying that you should have made it super duper extra clear that you have a boyfriend before meeting with your colleague. Otherwise it's fair game to assume this is a date. And by not telling him you were kind of lying by omission and leaving the door open for something potentially non-platonic to happen. Other people think it's awkward to find a moment to randomly share that information when it's completely irrelevant. Just because you're opposite genders. It could be received poorly and make things awkward. Especially if he was just trying to connect with an old colleague for networking or friendship purposes. It could almost come off as accusatory to randomly blurt out, "By the way, this is not a date. I have a BF." At the end of the day, you and your boyfriend disagreed about what's expected in this relationship and where your boundaries are. Were you being sneaky? Or was he being controlling? I'm not sure there's a right or wrong answer here. Only a misalignment of values, expectations, boundaries. It's probably best that you part ways so you can find someone who's less jealous and controlling. And likewise he can find someone who appreciates the kind of firm boundaries and complete transparency that he wants in a relationship. You haven't messed up. You're allowed to have friends outside of your relationship. Your BF has jealousy issues that he needs to work through. How can he say he can't trust you when you were the one that told him you were going out and haven't lied about anything? He's a highly insecure person and believes that you were property. Maybe he's been through the "he's just a friend" ordeal before and got burned. It's a common tale, as these things tend to start out innocently but eventually turn. He's seen the ending to this movie, but this time didn't want to wait until the end. He did you a favor, showing you how insecure and jealous he is. Better now than further down the road when you're even more invested into this relationship. Holy crap. His reaction is so bad and childish, I almost want to laugh at how lame it makes him look. Less than. No one needs a insecure, paranoid, controlling partner like that. It may hurt for now, but you will understand in time that he actually did you a favor and prevented you from being abused for many other, normal, activities in your future. Ladies, don't date the weirdos in this thread that think getting coffee with a friend is wrong. They're controlling freaks. Honestly, I would also consider walking away if this happened. Based on your comments, you didn't even share with your BF that you had been talking to this guy. Not just through IG, but another app too? That seems sneaky. And then to randomly bring it up that you're going and he finds out you've been talking for quite a bit and never mentioned you're in a relationship? Very odd. My SO will always casually drop "he has me" in a conversation if he's talking to another woman. I do the same thing. It's not about if you're allowed friends of the opposite sex, it's about boundaries and what you're both comfortable with. If you lack on communication completely in this case, then yeah, it comes off as possible cheating. Also, just because you think it was platonic doesn't mean the other guy thinks it is. I don't think what you did was salvageable because it's much more than catching up with a friend. You lacked serious communication skills, which is a major flag in a long-term relationship. This event shows that your STBXBF had very dark suspicions about you to begin with. Your coffee thing did not magically turn a good man to the dark side. He was already there. Did you show your boyfriend the part where you told the guy you had a boyfriend? If you've been chatting with him through Insta, DM, and WhatsApp, it must have come up at least once. Apparently this is an unpopular opinion, but I think he's valid in being upset that you didn't communicate with him that you were going out to coffee with another guy. I don't at all think it's breakup worthy or worthy of his huge reaction, but you should have told him. It's just respectful to the relationship. And to be honest, it seems like the guy you went out with could have perceived this as a date. You intentionally left a lot of vital info out, huh? I think your BF was right to freak out. You didn't even tell that guy you were in a relationship, that this wasn't a date. I'm more curious about a history of cheating in this relationship, on either side, and wondering if you were actually paying him rent or just leeching off of him thinking face. You went on a date with a guy and you didn't even tell him you had a boyfriend. You didn't invite your boyfriend along to hang out and meet the guy. Even though your boyfriend was upset, you still went out on the date with the guy. You're definitely still not telling us the whole story. There probably has been a pattern of similar behavior for a long time and he finally got fed up. If everything you've explained is accurate and there is no previous reason for your BF to be suspicious of you, then he's being completely irrational. If this is how he behaves in this type of situation, do you really want to be with him? Perhaps this is for the best? Yeah. This guy asked you out and you said yes. Your BF X took issue and left. TBF, I think you're naive rather than malicious, but either way it hits the same. You've stated in comments that you two weren't friends. Didn't talk about anything other than work, so I'm unsure as to why you're trying to catch up. He was a colleague. Nothing more and nothing less. Not telling the guy you had a BF was a huge no-no. Bring it up naturally in the future. If they suggest lunchtime, tell them you have plans later in the day with your BF, so you'll see if you can squeeze it in. Something like that. Hopefully you guys can work it out, but you need to seriously consider how your actions affect your partner and what the intentions of these other guys are. Good luck. There is nothing wrong with having some friends who are guys. Your now ex failed to understand that and he became jealous. I would just move on and forget it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.